Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about understanding your body's function and the function of food in creating energy. So this is lesson 2. So we're just going to jump right into it. Okay, so the function of food in creating energy. What does energy essentially mean, and what is the function of food? In the lesson 1, we discussed about how energy is being generated and how nutrition basically can cause one to generate bad energy or good energy. So everything that you put into your system does have an impact on what type of energy you generate. Okay, so Kaden actually explained that carbs generate glucose, which is our body's form of fuel, especially our brain. Okay, so basically carbs is the fuel to our brain, right? So fats generate glycerol and fatty acid, which are the ingredients in hormones and protective sheets in our brain that covers communicating neurons. So again, the 3 most important nutrients that we're supposed to be eating is carbs, protein, and fat. All this has its function in it has its function in how the brain works, right? And it also has its function in regulating our hormones as well. Okay, so protein generates amino acids, which are the building blocks to lots of structure, such as our blood, muscle, skin, organs, antibodies, hair, and fingernails. Okay, so if you work out a lot, you find that you need to take more protein. Why? Is because there is a breakdown of protein. So every time you supplement protein, you're actually repairing the broken down protein, from working out, right? Okay, so what they also travel down a different pathway to fuel the body's production of ATP, which is our body's energy currency, right? So again, just a reminder again that the main nutrients are fats, carbs, and protein. So fat, carbs, and protein are very responsible for energy production because if you're energy deprived, you want to know what the source of energy is in your body. And those are the 3 main sources. And already we spoke about how, protein helps it's a building block for, it's the building block of lots of structures such as your blood, muscle, skin, organs, antibodies, hair, and fingernails. And these are the things these are the nutrients that help sustain your being, right? So if you take away carbs from your diet, you're going to be lacking in energy. And even no matter how much you try to supplement that by eating more fats or eating more protein, there is still going to be a lack because the 3 nutrients work hand in hand to make sure that your body is being sustained, if that makes sense, right? ATP is responsible for charging our metabolic engines, allowing our muscle to move and our brain to think. Like we said before, if I were to go to slide 1, I think it was slide 2 when we talked about the ATP being responsible for charging our metabolic engines, allowing our muscle to move and our brains to think. So just imagine how the energy production is very much linked to the brain's functioning. That means that if you don't have enough energy, your brain you're not able to think properly. If you don't have the 3 most important nutrients in your diet and to produce ATP, which is another form of it's another name for energy, how would you be able to function properly? How would you be able to think properly? How would you be able to be calm in situations that are chaotic? Right. Okay, so it is evident that what we choose to eat will affect our body's production of ATP, like I said. The energy creating centers in our bodies is the mitochondria, and it is the most important structure in our cells. The most cells contain somewhere about 500 to about 2,000 mitochondria, which make up about 60% of the volume of muscle cells. Okay, so that basically is pretty much self-explanatory. Like mitochondria is really the building, it's the most important part in our cell, right? And we're going to talk about how we can actually help in the multiplication of mitochondria in muscle cells. And we're going to really talk about why building muscles are really important, because if you build your muscle, you're multiplying the mitochondrial cells that you have. Okay. The mitochondria converts, like we're going to talk about the function of mitochondria, and here it is. Mitochondria converts fat, protein, carbs into ATP. So all the mitochondria is very, very important. We're going to really talk about how it even deteriorates and how that even causes diseases and sicknesses for some people. If you don't have enough, if you don't have a balanced diet and you've maintained eating an improper diet for a long time, it's very possible that you don't have enough mitochondria in your cells, which means that you're not producing enough energy, which in turn means that, you know, you're going to in turn you're going to have like be diagnosed with diseases and sicknesses, you know, eventually. You know, mitochondria converts, like I said, fat, protein, carbs into ATP. They are also involved in almost any energy intensive process in the cells. Okay, so like, you know, like if you eat, even though you don't eat, even as you move, as you sit down, your body's always processing stuff. It's always processing information. It's always processing many things. It's always working, right? So it's, even if you're not doing anything, even though you sit down all day and don't do anything, your body is always working, right? So it's so important that you feed your body the right food for it to function properly. Okay, so the mitochondria is really important because it's very, very, very much involved in energy intensive processes in the cell, in your brain functioning, and how you think and everything. Even though you're thinking, you're actually burning energy, right? Diseases resulting from energy imbalances stem from deficiency of cell mitochondria, right? So if you have any energy imbalance, just really know that that has to do with a deficiency of your cell mitochondria. Mitochondria has its own DNA, and you know, just one second, and that does not have to depend on the nucleus. So it has its own functioning because it is so important. The mitochondria is really important in the cell. So it has its own structure and it functions separately. Okay, so we're going to really talk about, you know, the most important you know, components of the body, which is the, you know, water. You know, why is water so important? Why is the muscle so important? And why is fat so important? Why is it important for us to actually work on drinking enough water, or like eating enough, you know, water inclusive foods and putting that in our diet? Why is it important for us to build muscle? And also, like, why is it important for us to actually eat fat, right? Understanding one, which is water, is because our body is basically made up of 75% water. That is amazing. If your body is made up of 75% water and you're actually working out, you're moving, you're doing all of that, you're actually burning, you know, water. And you know how that works because, like, no matter what you do, you sweat, right? So you're actually burning water. But then if you don't supplement that, there's obviously, you know, a deficiency happening. It helps to keep your overall metabolism and all your bodily processes functioning properly. So that's the function of water. If the water content in your blood drops below normal, your muscle cells will leach water to support the flow necessary in the blood. When this happens, you become dehydrated, right? And you know, like your blood is made up of water. If you don't have enough water in your system, you become dehydrated. And you know, that obviously means that you obviously don't have enough blood in your system, and you're not functioning the way 100% the way you're supposed to function, right? Okay, so the chronic dieter that restricts all carbs from our diet may give people an illusion of sudden weight loss. But what happens is that our body has found other sources of energy. The body will try to tap into the stored glycogen on reserve in the muscle and liver. Once stored, glycogen gets tapped and water gets released, right? So someone that's actually, restricting carbs from their diet, and like carbs contain water. If you restrict carbs from your diet, then you're gonna get an illusion that you actually are losing weight, when in fact it's not even that. Like, you're not essentially losing fats, you're just losing water weight. That's the only thing you're losing. So this means that the chronic dieter has only been able to shed water weight rather than actually real fat weight. This is, in the inevitable cause. This will inevitably cause dehydration and undeniable hunger. So, like, we talked about how carbs, protein, and fat are the three main sources of, energy. And if you cut off one and you're relying on protein and fat to give you carbs, that is an imbalanced source of energy. That is very imbalanced. And, that's why I would advise that, if you're on any type of diet right now, I would advise for you to actually get off those type of diets and really focus on, attaining proper nutrition, right? So fat cells and muscles need water to function properly. I'm going to say that again. Fat cells and muscles actually need water to function properly. And, there are actually good types of fat that you can take, to actually multiply your fat cells, because your fat cells are actually important. They help you to regulate temperature. They do a lot for you. And your muscle cells even helps to burn fat. And all of this, they need water to function properly, to give you the best physique, to make you function properly, and overall give you a balanced energy. Every woman should take about at least 2.7 liters of water per day. Okay. So people who burn fat easily usually use their energy more efficiently, right? They pretty much use the energy more efficiently. If you're working out and you're burning energy through that, that is a good way to actually use your energy. Okay. If you remain sedentary, and that means that if you don't do anything and you're just seated at home doing nothing, you don't walk, you don't do anything, you're just at home all day, but you perform some type of 9 to 5 job without creating time to work out, it will become really hard for you to attain fat loss. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard for you to lose weight. Okay, so the next one we're going to jump into muscles. Okay, why are muscles so important? Muscles are important because they're essential for improving one's quality of life, longevity. They're necessary for maximizing energy. And one thing about muscles is that they're a very high maintenance tissue, because if you do have muscles, like, it's so easy for you to lose muscle mass. It's the easiest tissue in the body to actually lose really quickly. So if you want to maintain your muscles, you need to work out. You need to continue working out. You need to really make that a part of your life routine. It requires a lot of energy to keep it in good working order. Again, it requires a lot of energy to keep it in good working order. And I don't mean that, you have to keep working out all the time, like do like 2-3 hours of like workout every single day. What I mean about it saying, it requires lots of energy to keep it in good working order is that, if you have a lot of muscles, you need to have a good nutrition. If you don't have a lot of energy, when I say a lot of energy, I mean a lot of fat, protein, and fat. If you don't have those three things, it means like you don't have a lot of energy to actually sustain the high maintenance tissue. So do you understand what I'm saying? That is why, like, if you work out, after you work out, it's so advisable for you to eat a high protein food, a high protein meal, because that is how you're able to supplement for the lost tissue from working out. Okay. So muscles burn calories even when you're not working out. If you're just seated at home, you're burning fat. So if you want to burn fat, and you want to maintain your physique, you're into weight management, and you want to maintain your physique over a long period of time, the most advisable thing for you to do is to work on building your muscles. So strength training is very, very important. And a lot of women, they are scared to do strength training, which I really do understand. It's so easy for you to get injured. That is why it's so important for you to hire a fitness coach. If you can get a fitness coach, at least like hire a fitness coach 2-3 days in a week. It's really important because, the fitness coach is really going to help you to maintain your physique. Not just that, she's going to help you, or he's going to help you to really maintain a healthy life. Okay. Your basal metabolic rate is the energy measured in calories that your body needs daily for your cells to function properly and to stay alive. Okay, so this is like just it's the measured calories that you basically need daily for you to actually, be alive. Okay, so it's just basically that, like, I think it's about, for women, it's about 1,500. So you need to have, like, you need to eat about 1,500 calories a day. And depending on how much any activity you're doing, how much energy you're dispensing, then you can then add more calories. But then you need to know what your basal metabolic rate is. And you can calculate that if you were to do more research on that. Okay, so it is what you burn without exerting any type of effort, like I said. Okay, so most women on an average, it's usually like 1,500 to 1,800. And like I said, depending on the activity levels, the body size, the body type. Okay. Also, you should know this number if you want to lose weight, because that is basically how you're gonna determine your nutrition, right? Like the proportion in all of that. To lose a pound of weight, you have to burn 3,500 more calories than you consume. I don't mean that, you rely on nutrition to actually attain this. It's really unrealistic thinking, just to really think about it. Like, if you want to lose 1 pound, it's always advisable for you to lose 1 pound every week, right? So imagine if a day, 1,500 times 5, I'm going to do that calculation, 1,500 times 5. So that's just 5 days in a week, 75 minus 3,500. So that's just, you're left with 4,000 calories. That is not enough for you to actually, to live a sustainable life. You're just going to be depleted and you're not going to have enough energy to actually function, right? So it's so important for you to implement physical activity and proper nutrition into your daily routine, and so that you can actually attain this number. Okay, and you need to have a fitness coach to really attain these numbers, because if you don't have a fitness your fitness coach, it is so hard for you to even be consistent. It's so hard for you to be on track, right? Because you need to be able to calculate this number. You really need to be able to have a report at the end of the day, so you really know how you're doing. By implementing exercise, proper nutrition, meal and exercise tracking, you will be able to achieve your goal and even surpass it. Okay, so 1 pound every week is really the most advisable pound for you to lose every week. But if you do have a fitness coach, like, you can really, if you're willing to push yourself and to do to do the max, you can definitely, surpass that goal that you set for yourself. A meal plan for weight loss will include a calorie daily deficit and a cardio eat inclusive workout. That doesn't mean that you have to do cardio and eat workout all the time. If you do have a good fitness coach, like, that person should be able to create a more inclusive plan for you that would, include activities that you usually love doing, like swimming, for example, as an aerobic workout, or you can have other anaerobic workout into your workout routine that makes it even more enjoyable, and that should actually change over time. Okay, so Ashley and Katie, the authors of Energy Mom, mentioned that people who go to extremes to lose weight quickly often impair their fat metabolism by cutting weight. They're cutting too far back on calories, which forces their body to go into starvation mood, right? So when this happens, the body holds on tightly to fat and burns up muscle tissue for energy, and which is like the counterproductive events to fat loss, energy conservation, and overall health. Okay, so just imagine if someone is cutting or has decided to cut off all the carbs in the body. First of all, they're going to go into, like we talked about, they're going to go into dehydration mode. And because the body is wanting to, your body is wanting to preserve energy. That's what your body wants to do, because if the body can preserve the energy, the body is able to keep you alive, right? That's what your body wants to do. You want to think, your body's not going to tell you, oh, you can't think right now, like we talked about, all this nutrients actually, they're important for even the basic things like thinking. So if you cut off carbs, that is so important for you to actually, live a more sustainable life, to be alive actually, then your body would want to hold on to nutrients, want to hold on to fat. And then you're thinking you're cutting carbs, and you're asking yourself, like, why is it that I still have my belly fat? Why is it that I haven't lost my belly fat? And I'm doing all of these things. I'm cutting my carbs, and I'm doing a lot of exercise, and I'm doing a lot of cardio. The reason is because your nutrition is lacking. That is the only reason. You don't have a balanced diet. You don't know how to maintain a balanced diet. People whose muscle to fat ratio is high often feel more energized and motivated to stay active. If your nutrition is like on point, you're going to want to do stuff. You're going to want to do stuff, and you're going to be happy. There's just going to be so much energy for you to do so much things. And physical activity would be so easy for you to include in your life, life routine, right? Muscle activity allows you to sweat and to maintain body temperature. Just a disclaimer out there, like, it actually helps you to sweat and helps you to regulate temperature, to maintain your body temperature, which fat actually helps you to attain as well. Okay, and we're gonna see that too. So avoiding fat in your diet is not a good idea. Fat helps us to regulate body temperature. So, you would find a lot of women actually, like, they've cut out so much fat in their diet, and they're complaining that, well, I just feel so cold all the time. And like, every time I wake up in the morning, I often have to take hot water just to regulate my temperature. But that doesn't last long. That doesn't last long at all. Okay, and that is because you have cut all the fat in your diet. So there is no way, and you don't even do strength training to say the least. Your muscle also helps you to maintain your body temperature, but then you don't have muscles in your body. You've cut off fat. How are you able to regulate your body temperature? There is no means to do that. So now you are energy depleted. Your body isn't able to function properly to actually help you to regulate your temperature. Okay, so there are good and bad fat. The good fat is actually the brown fat, which is actually stored mostly around the neck and around the under the collarbone. So if you have, like, a pretty chubby, neck, or like your neck around here, it's like a bit chubby, it's not a problem. Like, you're fine, it's okay, it's fine. But the bad fat is known as the visceral fat, which is the age maker. This is the one that makes you age really fast, and it actually depletes your energy. Instead of helping you burn calories, it actually prefers to release chemical that will affect your metabolism negatively. So this type of fat, like I said, bad fat, bad energy. Bad fat, bad energy. Bad fat is the one that actually would release like really bad chemicals that would affect think about metabolism as the proper functioning of your body. It would actually impact the proper functioning of your body negatively. We don't want the visceral fat. If you have those ones are the ones that are around your waistline. If you have fats around your waistline, that is the visceral fat. It tends to be yellow, and it tends to collect around the waistline. Okay, you could be thin and you still have visceral fat. Okay, so don't think that, oh, because I'm lean right now, I'm thin, I'm slim, that means I don't have visceral fat. That is not true. You could be slim and still have visceral fat. Visceral fat has been linked to the cause of numerous health problems, including heart disease, diabetes, some forms of cancer, and metabolic syndrome. Can you imagine just that? Just not having a proper nutrition can make you have a bunch of health problems. And that is what we want to work on right now, so we don't end up having these problems in the future. And also, if you have a proper nutrition and you include physical activity in your life, you prevent a lot of things. You're not going to age like most people do. You slow down the aging process for yourself. Okay, so next we're going to talk about hormones. Hormones, they help to control, how we feel, like whether we're hungry, thirsty, tired, hot, cold, or horny, okay, and so on. The body's hormonal system, including the sex gland, testes in men, and ovaries in women, the kidney, pancreas, hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, parathyroid, thyroid, and adrenal glands. Okay, those are the hormonal system. And there are others like the estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, adrenaline, and androgen, such as the testosterone. And when all these hormones are balanced and the body works as it should, tissues are supple and soft. They're very resilient. And your energy packing metabolism runs smoothly. So like we said, proper nutrition, having a balanced fat, protein, and carbs diet affects your hormones. And if you how a regulated hormone looks like is like the tissues are very supple, resilient, and your system runs smoothly. You're not like hot and cold all the time. Do you understand? Like your mood is very much regulated. Cortisol, which is the stress hormone, tells your brain that you are hungry, which we then seek out food. If you have a lot of stress hormones in your system, you tend to want to overeat a lot. Okay, so if you have a caffeine addiction, it means that that causes your body to cry out for energy because it is maxed out on any energy available. Just a disclaimer out there that certain addictions that you have actually could be the culprit to your energy depletion. Okay, so understanding your body, as moms, it can be hard to maintain a healthy nutrition because you can easily break it by nibbling on your child's leftover cookies and ice cream. Okay, it is so easy, right? It is so easy for you to break a healthy diet. It is important to maintain a healthy balance of nutrients like carbs, fat, protein, and minerals, right? And it also helps to predict your behavior and count the calories from eating your son's or daughter's leftover calories as part of your daily calorie intake. One thing I would say is that, kids don't like to always eat junk food all the time. If you bring up your kid to learn to eat fresh foods, right? Learn to eat all grains, they're not going to want to crave junk food, right? But if you've then brought them in a way to want to crave junk food all the time, that is okay. But then you can actually slowly implement fresh foods into their diet slowly and put them on the same diet as you are on. Okay, but in the case where where you are at, you kind of have to work from where you are to get to where you want to be. If you're on that level, then the best thing for you to do is that even though you're going to get all this temptation, and yes, it's fine that you're going to actually fail sometimes, just make sure you actually count those calories, whether it's your son's or daughter's leftover cookies that you actually ate. Count those cookies as your daily calorie intake. You have to really know what's in those cookies. Is it like the carbs? Was there like fat? Just make sure you really know so that you can know that, okay, well, this cookie that I ate actually had an impact in my energy in this amount of weight. So like, at least I know how to track my mood. I know how to track certain things and how to track my diet. So like, you're not left, confused at the end of the day, right? So instead of going for a low calorie quality carbs such as flour, why don't you try whole grain? Okay, so understanding your body health conditions. If you do have a pre-existing health conditions, that can actually be a cause to your energy imbalance. And examples of health conditions that could actually impact your energy are sleeping disorders, thyroid issues, anemia, digestive disorders, and inflammation. Inflammation is definitely a big one. So if you don't sleep well, that definitely has an issue to add to your energy imbalance situation. All chronic conditions have been linked to inflammation that is caused by an imbalance in the hormones. Okay, so according to Ashley and Katie, inflammation is the concept of oxidation, stress, rusting of the organs and tissue. When I read this, I was like, oh my God, that is absolutely crazy, knowing that just you breathing, and we're going to really get into that and how inflammation really occurs, causing rusting, stress rusting of the organs and tissue. Okay, it happens both on the outside, causing wrinkling and premature aging, and on the inside, where it can stiffen your blood vessels, damage your cell membranes, and potentially wreak havoc. We're really going to get into that. Okay, so essentially, what is oxidation? We talked about inflammation and what inflammation is, and let's just go back to that slide. Inflammation being the concept of oxidation, right? The rusting of our organs and tissue, okay, which can cause aging, wrinkling, and damage our cell membranes, blood vessels, and just is very just chaotic, right? So oxidation, what exactly is oxidation? Oxidation is the natural process of metabolism, okay? It's part of the proper and normal functioning of the body. It is the body's means of turning calories, which is the energy that you eat, the food that you eat, okay, from food, and oxygen from breathing into energy usable for the body. So food plus oxygen results into energy, and all of that process is oxidation. But oxidation in itself is actually causing rusting to our organs and our tissues and all of that. Okay, so too much oxidation without a balance of antioxidant actions can be very harmful. And we talked about balancing, and I've said a lot about balance, energy balance. I said balance a lot in this lesson too, right? So even though oxidation does happen normally in our system, but how can we actually counter that and just really make that, a more balanced reaction in a body is what we should be asking. And that's what we're really going to talk about in, maybe in this lesson, but I think we're going to talk about that in the next one. Okay, so the exhaust from oxidation is made up of byproducts called the free radicals. Okay, so you do have oxidation happening in your system, but then their exhaust actually is a byproduct of that, which we actually call the free radicals. The free radicals are the ones that actually damage our DNA inside of our cells, some of about 10,000 times a day. So these are the bad guys. Okay, the oxidation, the good guys happen and they do their stuff in our system, but then there's some residues, right? And that results to some bad guys, which are the free radicals. Normally, our electrons spin around in pairs, but forces such as stress, pollution, ultraviolet light from the sun, and ordinary body activities such as breathing can make one of them break off. Okay, so in the cells, in the atoms, where we do have, it's normal functioning, right? So if one breaks off, right, I don't know if you know how, electrons are, but they're usually like either paired into two, like, you have the oxygen O2, yeah, that's two oxygens, right? So because of stress, pollution, ultraviolet light from the sun, ordinary body activities and stuff like that, even just breathing, can actually just cause one of the oxygen that's supposed to be two to break off to become one. And that one oxygen existing in the system is actually very chaotic. And that can actually cause our DNA inside to be damaged. Okay. So what happens when the molecules loses all sense of propriety and starts ricocheting around trying to steal? That's what happens when it's just one electron of oxygen that's in the system instead of two. For example, what happens is that the molecules loses all sense of propriety and starts to ricochet around to try to steal electrons from other molecules. And if you study chemistry in secondary school or in college, you understand that is how, electrons normally work. This commotion of oxidation process is a chain of events that attacks cells and kicks off inflammation, which creates even more radicals. So if like your one electron is trying to steal molecules from the other one, and the other one is trying to steal from the other one, and the other one is trying to steal from the other one, that is really how inflammation does happen, because there is no balance in the system, because each one is trying to steal from the other. So it's just an imbalance happening in the system. The whole destructive process sets off a health challenge, from saggy skin to low metabolism to obesity to health disease, cancer, dementia, fatigue, brain fog, low resistance to infection, muscle weakness, joint pain, anxiety, headaches, depression, irritability, allergies, and other diseases. So if you, for example, like I never had allergies, when I lived in Nigeria, and then I moved here and I started to have allergies, for example, being shellfish. And, I could ask myself, how is it that, I actually, gained this type of health condition? I could easily blame that to stress, changed environment, change diets too. So really just to go back and just to see what exactly is really causing this, free radicals to occur, to exist in our system is one, stress. If you deal with a lot of stress, and how do you actually, if you deal with a lot of stress, it's so easy for you to have a lot of free radicals in your system. And we already know what free radicals does, right? They are the bad guys. They are the ones that cause destruction in the system because they're trying to steal electrons off of the other electrons to actually cause a destruction in the system. If you're battling with a lot of stress, that is not good. So you need to find a way to cope, and exercise is one thing that you should be doing, right? Proper eating is something that you should be doing. Okay, so if you're living in an environment that is polluted, if you are the type of person that smokes, okay, take that out. Try to cut that out from your diet, cut that out from your life. It's really bad. All right. Causes anxiety. There's no good that comes out of it. It is not good. It is not good. It is not good. Okay. Ultraviolet light from the sun. Make sure you're wearing sunscreen everywhere you go. If you ask any woman, Asian women are usually always the one that are like, they defy aging, right? If you ask any one of them, how come like you're looking younger like every year? It's because they tell you they use sunscreen. They use sunscreen even though it's like it's raining. They always use sunscreen, and they don't deal with a lot of stress, right? They always plan. They're very hardworking, right? And they try to keep their lives organized. That's one thing that I would say from my own observation, right? And ordinary body activities such as breathing. So if you're going around in an environment where a lot of people smoke, a lot of people have bad habits, just make sure you're wearing your mask, okay? Because you can't let their bad habits, interfere with your own life, right? So just make sure you protect yourself. Number one, and I'll say protect yourself as a woman, as a mom, protect yourself as much as you can, from outside forces trying to, you know what I mean? Trying to it's the same thing as free radicals. Like, you need to really protect yourself from things that try to harm you, right? Okay, so we talked about that already. Let's just go to awesome. So yeah, we're actually done with lesson 2. We learned a lot. We did learn a lot. Okay, so we know that free radicals actually cause saggy skin, to low metabolism, to obesity, heart disease, cancer, dementia, fatigue, brain fog. That is what everything that I'm mentioning right now is what smoking would do for you. So, pollution, stress would do for you. Okay, all that is what improper nutrition would do for you. Okay, so saggy skin, to low metabolism, to obesity, to heart disease, to cancer, to dementia, to fatigue, to brain fog, weight gain, low resistance to infection, muscle weakness, joint pain, to anxiety, to headaches, to depression, to irritability, to allergies, and other diseases. Okay, so the body is not very complex. You can observe yourself, listen to your body, and help it perform its job. That's the only thing. That is the only thing that you are meant to do. So actually, if you love yourself, that's the one thing that you should be doing. Your body works on whatever you feed it. Despite the presence of environmental culprits acting against it, you are capable of protecting yourself from mental health issues and any physical health issues. Okay, there are a lot of people that are not happy with themselves, and they try to, project that on you, so don't let that have anything to do with you. You have to protect yourself, protect your mental health. Okay, protect your physical health as well. All right, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. It was really packed, and this course goes beyond fat loss. It goes beyond glowing skin, although it's also part of the benefit. And if applied, you will be able to nurture your body, mind, and soul to attain a long, healthy, and ultimately maintain a healthy family balance through food. And that is so possible. One thing I'm going to leave you with is that whatever you eat, okay, can either give you a good energy, or it can give you a bad energy. And it's not just what you eat, it's what you allow into your system. Whatever you allow into your system will either give you a good energy one, or it can give you a bad energy. So the high time you know to invest in the things that go into your system, the better. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you in lesson 3. Bye, guys.